Hello student, welcome to the class. Today I will be discussing your chapter number 10 and the name of the chapter is Transport and Excretion. That is chapter number 10, name of the chapter is Transport and Excretion. Transport and excretion are the two most important process which is taking part inside our body. Okay, so not only inside our body, transport takes place in plants also. Okay, so whatever the food we are taking inside, how it is getting transported to all parts, all cells, okay, all the cells of our body. And excretion, the waste materials which is getting out from our body, that is said to be an excretion. Okay, and the things which is we are taking inside, how it is getting traveled through all parts of our organ, how it is, or else how it is getting traveled through all the cells, all the cells of our body, that is said to be an transport. First of all, we will go for the transport in plants. Okay, how does transportation happens in plants? Okay, some solution of minerals and water absorbed by the root of a plant reaches the leaves through a system of pipe. Okay, the solutions of minerals and water, okay, whatever the root is absorbing from the soil, the solution minerals, all the substances whatever they absorbed from the soil by root, okay, so that has been transported to all parts of the plant through a pipe, and the name of the pipe is xylem. Okay, this pipe which run through every part of a plant are formed by a special tissue called xylem. The pipe is made up of a special tissue, and that tissue is said to be as xylem. The function of xylem is to transport water and minerals up the plant. So, the function of a xylem is to transport, okay, to supply, to travel, okay, to make the minerals to travel to supply, to make the minerals, to make the water to travel, okay, to all parts of the plant through a xylem tissue only. The work of the xylem is to transport all the water which is absorbed from the soil through by root, okay, that has been transported through a tissue called xylem to all parts of the plant. Then we move on towards osmosis. Osmosis, what do you mean by osmosis? Osmosis is a passage of water, okay, so passage of water from higher concentration to a lower concentration with the help of a semi-permeable membrane, that is said to be an osmosis. Okay, the semi-permeable membrane is here the membrane which allows partially substance to pass through it. Okay, some substances are allowed to pass through and some substance remain on the either side of the membrane. Okay, that is semi-permeable membrane, like a sieve. Okay, so sieve, when you take a flour on a sieve and you sieve it, no, at that time what happens, the finest particles of the flour will come down, and the bigger solid will remain on the sieve itself. Okay, so sieve allows the partial substances to pass through it. The same way semi-permeable membrane also allows some substances to pass through it or not all the substances. Okay, so here we will see the root hairs are unicellular, and like all other cells that make up the body of an organisms are covered by a semi-permeable membrane. The root hair is made up of a unicellular, single cell. Unicell means single cell, and multicellular means many cells, more than 2 cells. It may be 1,000 cells, millions of cells, okay, or maybe 2 cell or 4 cell. Millions of cells are said to be an multicellular, and unicellular is only single cell. The root hairs, okay, the tip of the root hairs are made up of unicellular. Okay, it contains only single cell, like other cells make up the body of a living organisms, like other cells which is inside our body. Okay, so they are covered by a semi-permeable. The root hairs are covered by a semi-permeable membrane. Semi-permeable membrane, I told that it is a partial. It is like a sieve. Okay, so it is a partial. Membrane. It is a porous membrane. Okay, small pores will be there, partial substances will be allowed to that membrane. Okay, or next, A semipermeable membrane is selectively open or porous. It only allows some substances to pass through it. The cell membrane allows liquid, solid, dissolving liquids and gases to pass through, but there is one condition: the pass from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. When the semipermeable membrane allows the solid which is dissolved in the which is dissolved in liquids and the gases, okay, so it allows to pass through it, okay, but there is a condition. Simply it doesn't allow, it allows only at the one condition, and the condition is from higher concentration to pass from a region of higher concentration to a lower concentration. Water passes from soil into the root hairs because the soil inside them is stronger, okay. So the water passes from the water passes from the soil into the root, the water which is passing from the soil into the root, because the solution inside them it is very much stronger than the solution of minerals and water in the soil compared to the soil, okay. Compared to the soil solution, it is quite stronger, okay. So in other words, the concentration of water in the soil is higher than the concentration of water inside the root hairs, okay. In a short word, here it has been said, the concentration of water which is present in the soil is higher, comparatively concentration of water which is present on the root, which is present in the root, okay, the root of a plant. The process of transfer of water across a semipermeable membrane from a region where its concentration is higher to a region where its concentration is lower is said to be an osmosis, okay. A process of water which is transferring from a higher concentration to a lower concentration using a semipermeable membrane or through a semipermeable membrane is said to be as osmosis. This is the osmosis process, okay. Example of osmosis, you can say like Rancid. If you put the Rancid inside the water, after a while you will see that Rancid got swollen up. That is the process of osmosis, okay. Or while you dip your finger inside water for a few hours, okay, after few hours what will you see? Your skins will get risen up, okay. So that is the process of osmosis, okay. So then transpiration. What do you mean by transpiration? Transpiration is a process of losing water on plants, okay. While the root absorbs water from the plant, afterwards it is transported to the minerals, okay, water or minerals. It is the plant absorbs through with the help of a root, whatever the minerals and waters are absorbed from the soil, that has been transported to all parts of the body, okay. So and after that what happens, the water gets loosed, okay, the water gets evaporated through leaves, okay, through tiny pores of leaves, and that pores is said to be a stomata, okay. And while it is getting evaporated through a tiny, the water is coming out, okay, through a tiny pores of leaves through a stomata, that process is said to be as transpiration, okay. So the solution of minerals and water that moves up from root to the leaves is called sap, okay. The solution of water and minerals which is absorbed from the soil by a root, okay, it is transported to upper parts of the plant. That process is said to be as sap, okay. No matter how tall the tree is, it doesn't matter how much tall the tree is or how much shorter the tree is, okay. So it is acting against the gravitational force. Gravitational force, where there is no gravitational force, the things will be floating, the things will float, okay, on the air, okay. So because of the gravitational force, we are standing, it is fixed because of the gravitational force coming from the upward, okay. So because of the gravitational force, all organisms are able to stand on the earth, all organisms are able to walk on the earth, otherwise they would have been floated, okay. It happens in the space doesn't have any gravitational force, because there, if you have seen in newses, the scientists, those who go there, going to the space, they will be not able to walk, okay, they will be just floating because there is a lack of gravitational force, okay. Because of the gravitational force only we are standing. That means the gravitational gravitational force suppressing us, okay, suppressing us to downwards, okay. The gravitational force acts towards down, okay, not towards the upside, okay. So while the water is getting absorbed, okay, while the water or mineral is getting absorbed from the soil by a root, at that time it is acting against the gravitational force and moving to all parts of the body, okay. So it is transporting all the minerals to all parts of the body. So that absorption of water by root produces push force. There is a two force, one is push and one is pull, okay. So the absorption of water from the root produces the push force, but a much stronger force is the pull produced by transpiration. So transpiration is much longer force, transpiration produces pull force which is much longer than the push force, which is the process by which a plant loses water through the stomata on its leaves, okay. So through transpiration water gets loosened from stomata through leaves. That process, the losing of water, the water which is getting evaporated, okay, from inside the plant, it is coming out through the stomata, a tiny holes, that is said to be a transpiration. Now transport of food, okay. So how does food move, okay? Food doesn't have, obviously food cannot move by its own, okay. So how does food move to all parts of the plant? That is transport of food. The food prepared in the leaves is carried to the rest of the plant by another set of pipe, okay. The same like in xylem tissue, okay. So xylem carries all the water, okay, all the water to all parts of the body, and the phloem, the tube is called phloem. The phloem is a tissue, tube like tissue which carries the food which is prepared on the surface of the leaf, okay. So that carries all the food, phloem carries all the food to all parts of the plant, okay. So where the set of pipe is formed by a tissue called phloem. The phloem also carries food to the storage organs of plants where extra food is stored. So the phloem carries all the food which is prepared on the surface of the leaf. It carries the food to a storage organ where the food gets stored, okay. Now the circulatory system, will move forward with the circulatory system. What do you mean by circulatory system? Circulation means what? Circulatory means in a circular process, okay. The process, a system, okay. Circulatory means a system which where all the mechanisms are going on, okay. So without a system nothing happens inside our body. There is a particular system where all the because of the system only, because of the prominent system only, because of the prominent mechanisms only, the things are happening inside our body. It is not like that I am taking food and without digestion all the food are transported to all parts of my body. It is not like that. After taking food it gets digested, and after digestion all the nutrients, all the minerals which is required for our body, that has been taken to all parts of our body, okay, through blood, okay, through blood. Whatever we are inhaling oxygen, okay, that oxygen has to be supplied to all the cells, okay, all the cells and all the parts of our body, all the organs, okay. So that is a system, that is a process, that system is said to be a circulatory system where circulation is going on here. In higher animals, digested food, gases and waste materials are carried around the body by blood, okay. So in higher animals like multicellular organisms, we are human beings, okay. So multicellular organisms, what happens here in higher animals, whatever the food we are taking, the gas which we are inhaling, okay, so that has to be supplied to our living cells, okay, so that it can work work properly, so that it can do its function properly, okay. If it stops its function, then for example a kidney stops its function, means what? The kidney failure will happen, okay. So the same way, so to do its function, each and every organ inside our body have its own and particular functions, okay. To do its function it needed a it's needed supply, okay, supply of energy, supply of oxygen, all the nutrients it needs, okay. So that is circulating inside our body. Blood flows through a network of tubes which is called blood vessels. So blood in plants we have seen water is transported to all parts of the plant through a xylem tissue, and food is transported through a phloem tissue, okay. So here we human beings, okay, the plant doesn't have blood, okay. So we human beings have blood. So blood is getting transported to all parts of blood is carried through a tube, and that tube is said to be as blood vessels, okay. It is pumped to every part of animal by the heart, which does not have the same structure in all animals. So the blood is pumped by our heart, okay. So the heart is not similar to all organisms. If I am having a heart, okay, my heart will be of my fist size. This is a fist, okay. My heart will be my fist size and your heart will be your fist size, okay. If your fist size is bigger than mine, then your heart is according to your fist size only your heart will be, okay. If your fist size is smaller than my one, so according to your fist size, your heart size will be, okay. So my heart size will be my fist size, your heart size will be according to your fist size, okay. So according to each and individual's fist size, their heart size will be, okay. This system of transport comprising the heart and blood vessels is called the circulatory systems. The system of transport, okay, which comprises of blood and blood vessels and heart. That system is said to be as circulatory system. Now blood. So now we are going to see how the how this process are happening inside our body, how the circulatory systems are happening inside our body, okay. So first of all we'll talk about the blood, okay. So blood, blood is a fluid, okay, fluid tissue. It is a fluid tissue. It has red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. Red blood cells is RBCs, white blood cell is WBCs and plate cells, plate and platelets, okay, and floating in a liquid called plasma. They are floating in a liquid called plasma. An adult male weighing 70 kg has about 5.5 liter of blood in his weight. A man who is weighing 70 kg, whose weight is of 70 kg have approximate 5.5 liter of blood in his body, okay, whose weight is 70 kg. So according to their weight, they will be having blood inside their body. So plasma. Plasma is a straw-colored liquid containing about 90% water. If some blood in a test tube is allowed to stand for some time, it separates into plasma and a dark red mass of cells. So what is plasma? Plasma is a straw-colored liquid. Straw-color means it is a pale yellow color, not an exact yellow color. It is a pale yellow color, okay. So pale yellow color, plasma is a pale yellow color liquid which is containing about 90% of water. Plasma contains 90% of water. If you take a blood for a test and you take the blood for a test and keep it in a test tube for a while, that time you will see it separates into a plasma and a dark red mass of cells which sinks in the bottom, okay. The dark red mass of cells which will be sunken, that means which will remain at the bottom, okay. So the plasma is a solution of minerals, waste products, digested food, enzymes, gases, blood proteins and other substances. So plasma contains what are the substances plasma have? Digested food, enzymes are present in the plasma, blood proteins are present in the plasma, then waste products are present in the plasma. Moving forward with the red blood cells, okay. What is red blood cells? Red blood cells are said to be, in short we can say, RBCs. Look like a disc shape. It is a round. You have seen the CD disc shape, no? It is a round. So same like a red blood cell looks like a disc shape. they can squeeze into very small blood vessels, they can compress, okay, so that means squeeze, that is pass something very harder, okay, they can compress into a harder substances, okay, so that is into a blood vessels, okay. The red color of blood is due to the hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is a protein which is present in the blood. Due to that hemoglobin only the color of our blood is red color, because of the hemoglobin, okay. The hemoglobin combines with oxygen and helps to transport it from the lungs to the cells. What happens when hemoglobin combines with the oxygen and it helps to transport it from lungs to the different cells, okay. So RBCs are made in the oxygen bone, red blood cells are made in our bone marrow, okay. So red blood cells are made inside our bone marrow only produces the red blood cells and live for about 120 days. The lifespan of RBC, red blood cell, is 120 days. After that again the red blood cell will be produced newly, and again 120 days, again after 120 days again the new red blood cells will be produced, okay, and that will live for 120 days, okay. The lifespan of RBC is all about 120 days. Now white blood cells. So the main function of white blood cells, that is WBCs, is to defend the body against infection. So what is the function of the white blood cells, okay, is to fight against the germs, is to fight against the infections, okay. So these are all the functions of WBCs. WBCs keep us healthy, okay. The white blood cell keep us healthy, okay. So suppose if something some germs, many microorganisms are around us, okay, in the environment, okay. So many microorganisms are present in the environment, present on the surroundings, okay. While we are inhaling gases, okay, that is oxygen, while we are inhaling, at that time many microorganisms goes inside our body, okay, many germs goes inside our body. So why we are not getting every day we are not getting any different kinds of diseases? Because of the WBCs, or sometimes you can, because of the WBCs, or sometimes you can see that without eating the medicine also your light fever get cured, okay. So because of the WBCs only, because it boosts up the immune system, which fights against the germs, which fight against the germs which causes infection inside our body, okay. So WBCs are of different shapes, and WBCs are of different shapes, okay. They have their own size and shape, okay, like amoeba, okay. So how do WBCs work inside our body to kill the germs, okay. So while the germs are getting inside our body, some WBCs produce substances to kill the germs, okay, and some other WBCs produce some WBCs produce the substances, and some WBCs gulp, okay, that is they ingest, okay. So they ingest the germs, that means they gulp, okay. So gulp means they swallow, okay, like an amoeba. How does an amoeba eats its food, okay. So they ingest, okay, they gulp the germs and kill them, okay. So this is the work of the WBCs, which makes us healthy, which makes us to fight against, which fights against the infections, okay. So slight infections, whatever normal days, all the germs, many microorganisms are going inside our body, but still we are healthy because of the WBCs, okay. It boosts up our immunity systems, okay. So many diseases will not act, many different kinds of germs will not act inside our body because of the WBCs. If your WBC is stronger, that means you are healthy white blood cells, okay. That means you are healthy, okay. You have the ability to fight against the germs. Those whose WBCs are weakened, those who less amount of WBCs are present in their blood, okay. So they often get diseases, they often get infected by different kinds of germs, okay. So WBCs plays a vital role in our health. Now platelets. Platelets like RBCs are made in the bone marrow. Platelets are also made in the bone marrow, okay. The function of the platelets is to clot the blood, okay, to make a lump. Clotting means to make lump, to form thick lump, okay. So here, suppose if you cut, okay, so if you got cut on your hand, on other parts of your body, or you met with an accident, blood starts flowing from your body, okay. So after a while, if you you have a small injury, after a while you will find that if you have injured, okay, small injury you are having in any parts of your body, in your hand, leg or whatever, after a while what will you see? Your blood became clotted, okay, your blood became in a thick lump, okay, which stops to flow the blood, okay, which stops to flow the blood inside your body. If clot doesn't happen, if the blood doesn't clot, what will happen? The blood will continuously flow from your body and you will lead to death, okay. The work of the platelet is to clot the blood, okay. Next, here lifespan of the platelet is about 10 days, okay. So lifespan of the RBCs is 120 days and lifespan of the platelets is about 10 days, okay. After 10 days again it will get renewed, okay. So again new platelets are formed, okay. So these platelets are also produced in bone marrow only. So blood vessels, a blood vessel is a tube where bloods are carried, through which blood is carried, okay. So that is called blood vessels. Blood vessels are of three types. One is arteries, veins and capillaries. Blood vessels are of three types: arteries, veins and capillaries. Arteries carry blood from heart to all parts of the body. What is the work of the artery? Artery carries the blood from heart and blood from heart to all parts of the body. And work of the vein carries blood from rest of the body parts to heart, okay. So artery carries from heart to all parts of the body and veins carries blood from all parts of the body to our heart, okay. Capillaries are the thinnest body vessels. The capillaries are the thinnest blood vessels which is present in our body. Blood flows from the major arteries into smaller branches until it reaches the capillaries. So blood will flow continuously from major arteries to smaller or to small branches. Continuously it will flow until it reaches the capillary. Tiny capillary join up to form small veins, which then join up to form major veins. So tiny capillaries join together to form a small vein and again which they join together to form a large vein, okay. Capillaries have very thin walls. Capillaries are having very thin walls which allow digested food, gases and other substances to pass in and out of them, okay. So the capillaries, they are having a very thin walls which allows the digested food and gases to pass through it in and outward, inward and outward. This is how digested food passed into the blood in the villi of the small intestine. So like this, through this process, through capillary only, the digested food is passed in villi. Villi is a finger-like projections which is found inside our small intestine, which is found in the small intestine, okay. So this is the process how the capillaries allows to pass the digested food and gases and other substances in villi in the small intestine. Now heart. The heart is a muscular organ. All we have a heart, okay. So heart is a muscular organ and we know that what is the work of the heart? It pumps blood. It acts as a pump, okay. So it pumps blood. It contracts. When the heart contracts and relax, contracts means decreasing and relaxing means becoming bigger, little bit big, relaxing, okay, becoming free. So heart gets contracts and relax to pump blood. It acts as a pump, okay. So it is about the size of your fist. It is about the size of your fist. According to your fist, your heart size will be your heart size will be, okay. So it lies in the chest cavity between the lungs with its lower end tilted. So it is lied. The heart is present in the chest cavity, okay. So below the chest you are having a small cavity, okay. In that heart is present and it is lower, and the lower end it is quite tilted bit to the left side. It is tilted towards the left. That means little bit slanting towards the left side, okay. The heart is divided into two halves by a thick wall. The heart, suppose this is a heart, my heart is of this size only, my fist size only, okay. So this is, the heart is divided into two halves, okay, and that halves are separated by, these halves are separated by a thick wall, very thick wall. It is two halves. The heart is divided into two halves and that is separated by a thick valves. This valve prevents oxygenated blood from mixing with deoxygenated blood. This valve, the valve which is present in between the two halves of the heart, that prevents to mix up deoxygenated blood and oxygenated blood. Here deoxygenated blood means the oxygen, the deoxygenated blood here is in the blood which doesn't contain any oxygen. Oxygen is removed, that is called deoxygenated blood, and oxygenated blood where the oxygen present, the blood which is having oxygen, that is oxygenated blood. Okay, so oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood are separated by this thick wall. Okay, and the heart is divided into two halves. Okay, so two halves, and it is separated by a thick wall, and the thick wall, the function of the wall is to separate that, doesn't allow to mix the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Each half of the heart is divided into an upper chamber called atrium and a lower chamber called ventricle. Again, okay, so the heart is divided into two halves. Okay, again that each half is divided into upper chamber and the lower chamber. Upper chamber is called as an atrium and the lower chamber is said to be as ventricle. Deoxygenated blood or blood carrying carbon dioxide from all parts of the body entered the right side through two major veins. So deoxygenated blood which doesn't have oxygen, okay, only carbon dioxide is present. Okay, so it is getting through all parts of our body. It enters to the left side of the heart, the left, the left half of the heart through two major veins. Okay, so it is through two major veins. The heart pumps into two articles. Okay, the deoxygenated blood will be pumped to two articles and two arteries which carry it to the lungs. Okay, so which the deoxygenated blood will be carried to the lungs. Okay, so in the lungs the blood gives up carbon dioxide and picks up oxygen. On the left side what happens, on the right side what happens, the deoxygenated blood whatever is entering on the right side of the heart, right halves of the heart. Okay, so that gives, that leaves the oxygen, carbon dioxide on the lungs and collects the oxygen. After collecting the oxygen, it picks up the oxygen, collecting the oxygen from the heart. Then that oxygenated blood or a blood carrying oxygen then enters the left side of the heart. Okay, so here you are having two sides of the heart. At the right side what happens, deoxygenated blood, the blood which is having carbon dioxide, that is deoxygenated blood, absence of oxygen. Okay, so that will enter into the right side and there it will leave carbon dioxide, okay, and collect the oxygen. Again it will enter, the oxygenated blood will enter into the left side of the heart. Okay, and after entering into the left side, which pumped into a big artery. Okay, so which will be pumped into, the oxygenated blood will be pumped into the big artery. Branches of this artery carry the oxygenated blood to rest of our body. Okay, this oxygenated blood which is having an oxygen in it, present oxygen in it, it will be transported to all the parts of our body through blood. Okay, so remember, deoxygenated blood will enter into the right side of the heart. Okay, so after right side it will leave the carbon dioxide on that side. Okay, so after that it will pick up the oxygen from the lungs and it will enter into the left side, and that oxygenated blood will be transported to all parts of the cells. Okay, so all the cells or all parts of our body. Okay, the cells are connected to form, the cells are togetherly connected to form tissue, and tissue is togetherly connected to form organs. Okay, so all parts of the organs. Now heartbeat and pulse, this is the work of the heart. How does it works? Okay, now heartbeat and pulses. Have you heard about the heartbeat and pulses? Obviously you will have a sound when you go to the doctor's house. No, doctor uses stethoscope, okay, to test your heartbeat. He or she, the doctor, hears your heartbeat. Okay, not only that, if the doctor catches the pulse also, this is the pulses. Okay, okay. So to see the heartbeat, okay, you can hear your, you can realize your heartbeat, okay, by catching your pulse or temples, okay. Temple is this side, okay, here this is the temple side, okay. If you keep your finger on the temple side, you will find that heartbeat, okay. So throb, you will find the throb, that is a regular movement, okay. So heartbeat, that sounds lap tub, that sound will, that sound you will not get, but you will see that throb you will found, okay. The regular movement you will see, okay. On the throat also, if you keep inside the throat, throat also, that regular movement throb will be going on, okay. The heart squeezes and that contracts, squeezes means contracts and relaxes, okay. At that time only the throb, the noises happens, okay. So when it contracts and relaxes, you can feel all these things on the pulse, temples and the throats, okay. Every time heart contracts and blood rushes into arteries, making them throb, you can feel this throbbing at the wrist, throat and temple. This is what doctors feel when they check your pulses. Since the arteries throb with the rush of blood every time the heart contracts, the pulse rate is the same as the rate at which the heart beats, okay. The pulse rate will be the same of your heartbeat, okay. There is a 72 times, okay. A normal healthy person will have 72 times heartbeats in a single minute, okay. In a 1 minute there will be a 72 heartbeats for a healthy person, okay. For a child it is more, okay. For a children it is quite more, okay. So in an adult healthy normal, okay, healthy adult normal person will have 72 heartbeats per minute. So it changes, your heartbeat raises, okay, when you get angry, when you get excited, when you become very happy, or when you run, okay. So when you run, when you walk very fastly, okay. So at that time your heartbeat raises, but at normal position it is of 72 times, okay, per minute. Next, removal of waste, that is excretion. Excretion is said to be as the removal of waste. So how the waste products are removed from your body, okay. So how the waste products are thrown out from your body, that also has certain mechanisms, okay. So everything is going through a step by step mechanism. It is not like that simply it is getting removed, okay. Food we are eating and without digestion it is going removed, okay. So it is not like it is getting digestion, then all the all the chemical process are going inside our body, and after that only the waste products are removed. That waste products are removed through a certain organs, okay. The heart will not remove the waste products. Heart is the function of the heart is for the circulation of blood only, okay. So the heart is not going to remove your waste products. So different organs are there, that is kidney, okay. So the kidney only helps, okay, excretion, for the excretion, to removal of the waste product. The kidney will not pump the blood, okay. So each and every organ inside our body have its own functions, okay. They have their own particular functions to maintain. Waste are produced inside the body of every organism. The waste need to be expelled, that is thrown out. Expel means to throw out, to give out, okay. So from the body. If they were not expelled, they would poison the organism. The process of removing waste from the body is called excretion. So the process through which the waste is removed from our body is said to be an excretion. If the waste products remain inside our body, it will affect us, okay. It will make us this is a poison. The waste products which remains in our body will act as a poison, and which will affect us, okay, which will affect the organs, okay, different organs, which will affect, if the organ is if the organ gets affected, so obviously we will also get affected, because organ is a part of our body, okay. So it will affect the organisms. In total it will affect the organisms. Organisms means all living things, okay. Sweating, we'll say sweating helps to regulate our body temperature. Sweating helps to cool down, okay. What happens when in the summer season you sweat a lot? After sweating, what do you feel? You feel very cool, no, relaxed, okay. So when your body absorbs lots of heat, when your body feels lots of heat, at that time sweat starts coming out from your body, okay. So that regulates our body, that cools down our body, okay. Sweat cools down our body. The evaporation of sweat requires heat the evaporation of sweats, okay, the evaporation of the sweat requires heat. If you don't get cool at the winter season, do you sweat? Okay, no. So obviously we will not sweat at the winter season. When you get heat, okay, at that time only we start sweating. So evaporation of the sweat requires heat. Our skin provides this heat, so we feel cool when sweat evaporates. This is why we sweat more when it is hot. We also excrete water, salt and a substance called urea in the process of sweating. Sweating not only keeps our body cool, it also excretes the waste minerals, okay, the substance called urea that comes out through sweat, okay. Now sweat and salt, the substance salt, okay. So excess water, okay, so they excrete water, waste water, salt and urea, substance urea is coming out through the sweat only, okay. So not only the cooling purposes, it expels the waste product, liquidity waste product, okay, through the sweat, okay. Urea is a waste produced when proteins are broken down in the body. What is urea? Urea is a waste which is produced when proteins are broken down inside our body, okay. So when proteins, whatever the protein we are intake, whatever the protein we are eating, okay, that has to be broken down to get energy, okay. So that after broken down, what happens, it comes out through sweat, okay. So and that protein, breakdown of a protein, okay, so break-in particle of a protein is said to be as urea. Now urinary system. The urinary system filters out the waste products collected by the blood from all over the body, okay. So the urinary system filters, okay, all the waste products, okay, through over the body, okay. So whatever we are eating the urinary system collects, okay, so all the waste products, and it is thrown out from our body and expels it as urine, okay. So we pass urine, all the waste minerals are gone through the urine, okay. So this system consists of two kidneys, a urinary bladder, two ureters, and the urethra, a small tube through which urine is expelled, okay. So excretory system consists of two kidneys, okay, and urinary bladder, then you are having a urinary bladder, then two ureters and urethra, okay. Through this only what happens, the urine gets passed, gets expelled from our body, okay. So it gets out from our body. The kidney are bean-shaped organs situated behind the stomach, one on each side of the spine. Each kidney has about 1 million tiny filters called nephrons, okay. So the kidney is a bean-shaped, okay, size bean, okay. So small bean, bean-shaped, okay, not the size, bean-shaped, okay. It is a bean-shaped kidney, and it is present on the back of the stomach, that behind the stomach, that is backside behind the stomach, and one kidney on each side of a spinal cord. We are having a spinal cord at the middle, okay. So on both the sides each kidneys are there, okay. So each kidney is present, and the kidney has about millions of tiny filters are called nephrons. Kidneys are having tiny small filters, okay. That filters are said to be as nephrons. A nephron look like a small cup or a funnel with a longish tube attached to it. How does a nephron look? Okay, it is like a funnel or a small cup with a longish tube attached to it. A long tubes are attached in it, in a nephron, in that funnel or cap, okay. There is a mesh of capillaries in each of these cups, okay. So water and waste like urea and salt filter into the cups, okay. So there is a capillaries, mesh of capillaries are present in that, okay. So mesh of capillaries are present in each of these cups, okay. So each of that nephron cups. Water and waste like urea and salt are filtered in the cups. In that cups, water and salts and other minerals are filtered in that cups from the blood in the capillaries. So from the blood it is getting filtered in that cups from the capillary. The way tea filters through a strainer, how we filter a tea through a strainer, okay. So after cooking a tea, what will you do? After boiling a tea, when you strain the tree, at the time what happens, all the tea leaves will remain upside and all the liquid will come down. Okay, so the same way it filters like that. Okay, so the blood cells and other large particles remains in the blood in the capillaries the way tea leaves remains in the strainer. Okay, so the larger particles, okay, the larger particles will remain on the other side and the liquidity particles will go to the other side. The clean blood leaves and kidney while the waste flow into the tubes of the nephrons. Okay, the waste will flow through the tubes of a nephron. The tiny tubes join up to form a bigger tube. The tiny small tubes are joined together to form a bigger tube, which in turn join the ureters. After this they will join to the ureters, and from the ureters it will be collected into a urinary bladder, and from the urinary bladder it will go into urethra. Okay, from urethra all the urine, all the waste products, urine is the waste products, okay, waste substances, which is waste minerals, okay, which is passed throughout our body, okay, which is thrown out outside our body. Okay, so all will be collected in the urethra, all the waste materials will be collected in the urethra. Okay, urethra is like you can say the urinary bladder, sorry, not urethra, the urinary bladder will it has the capability to expand also. It is like an elastic bag. Okay, so it is like the urinary bladder is an elastic bag. Okay, so when the urine gets collected in the urinary bladder, it will come out through the urethra. It can hold about half a liter of urine. A urinary bladder can hold half a liter of urine. Okay, so until it gets stretched more, before the urethra, sometimes you feel very much, emergency to go to to pass your urine. Okay, very much emergency. Okay, that time what happens, lots of urine is getting collected in the urinary bladder. We are controlling, we control sometimes, okay, to go to bathroom, okay, due to some work or due to some busyness. Okay, let me complete this work and go to bathroom. Okay, till now I'll control my urine. Okay, we should not do like this. Okay, so we should not extend, we should not allow our urinary bladder to become extended for collecting the urine. Okay, so before whenever you get an urine, okay, pressure of urine, immediately you have to go to the urine. Okay, so it exactly it collects half liter or 1 liter of urine in a urinary bladder, and after all the urines are passed through an urethra. Then dialysis. What do you mean by dialysis? Have you heard about the kidney patients especially have dialysis? Okay, so dialysis is like a process when kidney gets failed, okay, due to various infections. Okay, at that time the patient will have the dialysis process. The kidney can stop functioning due to many reasons. Okay, so the kidney gets stops functioning. Okay, the function of the kidney is to remove the waste products. Okay, so whenever the kidney stops functioning, at that time only dialysis process is used by the doctor to the patient. Okay, so when a person suffer from kidney failure or his kidney stop functioning, he has to undergo dialysis. Okay, so when kidney stops functioning, at that time dialysis has to be done. Okay, so the patient should undergo dialysis. Okay, in brief, dialysis is the process of removing waste from the blood artificially. So in short, we can say dialysis is a process, okay, removing waste from blood, okay, that is artificially. Natural process, naturally the kidney only purifies, okay, purifies and all the impurities are taken out with the help of only kidney only filters. Okay, so all the impurities are taken up, the excretion process is happening through the kidney only. So the kidney only excretes all the products, it filters all the impurities and purities. Okay, so if kidney gets failed, the artificial mechanism is used. Okay, so that artificial mechanism is said to be as to purify the blood, that artificial mechanism is said to be as dialysis. The patient blood in dialysis, the patient blood is taken out of an artery and allowed to pass through a tube whose wall is semi-permeable. In dialysis, what happens? The patient blood is taken out and it is taken out of an artery. The patient blood will be taken out from the artery and allowed to pass through a tube, and the blood is passed through a tube whose wall is semi-permeable. The wall will be semi-permeable. semi-permeable. Semi-permeable, as I told, this one is a partially allow the substances to pass through it. Okay, so all the liquidated substance will pass and all the substances which is bigger will remain on the other side. Okay, semi-permeable, partial substances are allowed pass through the semi-permeable membrane. The tube which is dipped in a solution acts like a sieve. The tube which is dipped in a solution, that will act like a sieve. Okay, it allows the smaller waste particles to pass out of the blood into the solution, but it does not allow the blood cells and proteins which are larger to the pass through. It allows only the smaller the semi-permeable membrane allows the only the particles which are small. Okay, the larger particles will remain on the other side. The way waste passes the wall of the dialysis tube is pretty similar to the way they pass through the capillary. So, in a dialysis tube, how the blood is collected and impurities are removed from the blood. Okay, it is the way in a natural process how the capillary does. Okay, so in a capillary all the impurities will be passed out. Okay, through a capillary tube. Okay, so through a capillary tube, it is a natural process which is done inside our body, which is happening inside our body naturally with the help of a kidney. Okay, so if it gets supposed kidney failure happens, at that time dialysis will be taken, and the same they will be having the blood will be taken out from the artery, and after that it will be dialyzed. All the impurities will be removed from that blood. Okay, so it will act like a capillaries into the kidney. In fact, it is similar to way water passes from soil to the root and to all processes of transfer of substances inside the body of living organisms. It is quite similar to the water passes from the roots and all the substances inside the body of living organisms. Okay, the mechanism which is going inside our body for the excretion, okay, for removal of the waste products, the same way the dialysis also acts. Okay, the dialysis also does these functions. Okay, the thing is the excretion of things which is happening inside our body is a natural process, naturally it is happening, and the dialysis through dialysis dialysis is an artificial process. Okay, in all these processes, substances pass through a semi-permeable membrane from the side where the contraction is higher to the side where the contraction is lower. The contractions will be higher to the side and the contraction will be lower to the lower. Okay, the membrane thus waste pass from the blood where the contraction is concentration is higher to the solution where the concentration is lower. The waste will pass from a blood where their concentration is higher to the solution where their concentration is lower. Okay, so this is the process how dialysis happen. From higher concentration to the waste will be transferred from higher concentration to the lower concentration, to the solution of lower concentration. So here ends your chapter. If you have any doubt regarding this chapter, you can contact me at night. Thank you.